Hello everybody, it's Dr. JJ with Pinnacle Chiropractic here in beautiful Bradenton, Sarasota area, Florida. And today we're going to talk a little bit about SPD, so sensory processing disorder. And if you're a parent, you already know that you love your child more than anything in the world, and there's no doubt about that. So when you see them suffer, you suffer deeply in your heart as well too, because they're an extension of you. And if you have a child that is easily overwhelmed in large crowds, is always touching everything, or doesn't pick up on social cues or understand personal space, not only can that be frustrating, but it can really be heartbreaking to watch your child go through this struggle without any help in these sensory situations. So when it comes to SPD, there's really not a one size fits all. But SPD is a condition that affects the brain and how it processes stimuli. So it can affect the way that your child processes taste, smell, touch, hearing, and I said smell, touch, sight, and taste, and hearing. So those are your five senses, and it can affect each and every one of them. So if your child does struggle with SPD, you already know its effects. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the root causes and a specific test that can actually help measure and quantify the struggle. Yes, you heard me right. You can actually measure and quantify the struggle to some degree with our insight scans that we use in the office. And then even more importantly, we'll get to work on helping make sure that the sensory processing system is more comfortable and able to adapt and handle different types of stimuli. We do that all in our office here. So if you're a mom or a dad who wants to dive deeper in how to help their child with sensory struggles, and whether you've tried therapies, you've tried different diets, or you just have given up and often choose to avoid situations where you go out in public or high crowd situations, then stick around and see how we can help you. So first, let's walk through the root cause of sensory processing disorder. It all starts within the nervous system, very, very early within development. And plus there is a unique and non-invasive way that can measure this neurologically, the insight scans that we use here. So when you break it down, there are essentially two different kinds of sensory processing challenges. There's sensory avoiding, and then there is sensory stimulation. So avoiding means they don't want to be touched, they want to avoid maybe certain sounds, things like that. And the other side is more of the stimming community, or stimming sensory would be where they always need more stimulation. So they're touching walls, they're touching themselves, doing things. And children can most definitely have a mix of both as well too. So it's not, like I said, one size fits all. And in order to find the cause of these struggles, we have to go all the way back to your child's development, and even before delivery, really. So one of the first things, actually the first thing to develop in utero, is the brain and the autonomic nervous system. When I say autonomic nervous system, that means anything that your body does without you thinking, or like your heart. You don't say, hey, heart, beat 50 times per minute or something like that. You know, your heart automatically does that. So that is the autonomic nervous system. And so if mothers are left in a constant state of distress or anxiety, anything like this, that can really affect the baby in utero, even its triggering responses. So that during the brain development in a baby is critically important, and it has a high effect. So another trigger for these types of sensory SPDs can also be birth intervention or birth trauma, which we see a lot of, whether it's forceps, vacuum, extraction, induction, C-section, you name it. These all can disrupt the function of the brainstem and really the upper cervical spinal cord regions, which are really the most important areas of your whole spinal column and nervous system. And it is the main hub for integrating sensory information before it reaches the brain. So you can think of your brainstem as air traffic control, or your breaker box, if you will, for your child's brain, for their seven senses, and where it's responsible for not only organizing and processing information, but keeping out unwanted sensory information and unwanted sensory input. So this unwanted and annoying information is also known as nociception. So the reason your child may be avoiding certain stimuli is to avoid noisy and stressful situations. They cannot tolerate it. So that is what's going on in their brain and their nervous system. Additionally, if they are constantly moving and seeking physical stimuli and touch, they're doing in order to bring what is called proprioception, which is how your body perceives itself in space, and it's a sense of movement essentially. And while it may not seem like all of the movement and touching things are calming their brain down, in reality, it's the one thing that is helping them know themselves in space. So even though it seems like are they touching everything, this is annoying to you as a parent or to other people, it in all reality calms them down. So it's one thing to talk through why this is happening, but more importantly, how do we help it? And I've hinted a little bit about it as well too. The nervous system is a two-way street, plain and simple. And one set of nerves is called sensory nerves. And that is information so let me take a second here. The one set of nerves is called sensory nerves. And that sends information and report to the brain and to the brainstem precisely on what is going on inside of the body. So internal environment as well as external environment. That is the sensory part of things. The other set of nerves are what is termed motor control. And they send signals out from the brain and the spinal cord to tell various parts of the body what to do. Like I'm telling my hands to do this right now, versus me feeling my elbows on the table right now would be sensory. So we have sensory and gross motor, so motor control. And as parents, we measure these systems through symptoms essentially, and the symptoms they produce. But this often doesn't tell the whole story of really what's going on inside the body and with the nervous system. And that's where our testing comes into play. So this is why taking a test to understand, to look under the surface things and understand what's going on is so incredibly important, especially for children that struggle with SPD and sensory processing challenges. So the best part is that this test can be done very easily, very comfortable, it's safe, and this test is conducted in our office, and it consists of 3 different neurosensory scans, and it is called the Insight. So the Insight scans are really what they gear down to and break down to is finding, tracking, and understanding if subluxation and dysautonomia within the body are present. And if they are, we need to know 2 things about them. We need to know how significant or severe is the subluxation. Is it mild, moderate, severe, or intensive? And where within the neurospinal system are things primarily located, tracking certain areas that are having more struggles than others. And so making sure the system is working at full function is simply the most important thing that we can do. So think of the neurospinal system as a fuse box of your home. While your nervous system is quite a bit more intricate and complex than a fuse box, many of the sensory and motor nerves function similarly. So in our office, we use the neurofuse box chart, and if you're a patient, you know that, you've seen that, to help us better track and locate where certain trouble from the subluxation is causing dysautonomia. For example, you can't sleep at night. Well, guess what? The hub for sleep is really in your upper cervical spine, so it makes sense when we see something in the scan that shows that. So making sure this system is working at its full function is simply the most important exam and assessment of any pediatric provider could perform for your child in order to get you results and let you really know what's going on. So put simply, the nervous system isn't, if the nervous system isn't calm on the inside, sensory symptoms will show up on the outside. So if you don't have what's inside in control, you're going to see it manifest within children and with anyone. So in just about 10 to 15 minutes, we will be able to do these safe, non-invasive scans and find, measure, and locate subluxation within your child's autonomic nervous system. These scans help us put together a customized plan of attack for you and your child to help what they've got going on and their exact needs, to help them to start to restore their nervous system function and balance the autonomic nervous system. And what I mean by when I say that is the autonomic nervous system is composed of two different sides: sympathetic, which is like the gas pedal, and parasympathetic, which is like the brake pedal. And if they are in that sympathetic side of things, then you're going to see a lot more noxious stimuli, more nociception that is essentially bringing more static to their life that prevents them from really calming things down from a sensory output and input standpoint. So this is really truly the missing link that can help you with your child and their sensory processing challenges. So if you have any questions, please comment them, DM us, let us know how we can help. And second, if you do know someone struggling with sensory processing disorder or a parent that is overwhelmed with that type of situation, send them our way, because we are so blessed to help so many children that deal with sensory processing disorder, and they are not alone. So we love you all, and we look forward to hearing from you and seeing how we can help you. Peace and love. Dr. JJ out.